Hi, folks. I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my political cartoon countdown for March 11th, 2023. It's been a while, a few weeks, so what I've done here today with the countdown is kind of I prioritized the cartoons along with the most popular ones. So I kind of use my own formula here to come up with the cartoon countdown based upon not only on the popularity in terms of impressions on Twitter, but in terms of the most relevant to what's going on today. So here it goes. I just want to tell you also about my latest. Well, anyway, I've got a book coming out sometime in the end of June, early July, and I hope you would take a look at it. I'll tell you all about it when it comes out. Until then, if you want to go to my website and look at my past books at richardsbooksofpoliticalcartoons.com, you can go there and see all my books and my cartoon samples and some of the videos I've done, and just have a good time like a political Disney World. I invite you to do that, and let's get started now on the countdown. So what I picked out here was this was number 6, and this was up on Twitter, and I picked this cartoon to show you first because this is very current about what's going on now. That Tucker Carlson has shown his version of the video and of his I guess you could call it a redacted video of what went on, and a lot of people, I didn't see it, but a lot of people remarked that it wasn't a clear representation of what actually happened. And no Republicans who were there have said that, but people who have seen the video, commentators and so forth, have come forward and said, well, it really was just a kind of a whitewash to try to make it look like a peaceful thing. So I did this cartoon a few weeks ago, anticipating that that's what Tucker Carlson would do. And I did a video outside of them here. I did a cartoon here with Tucker Carlson. There's Tucker. And he is basically saying here we see all these liberal deep state partisans from within the FBI vandalizing our Capitol, because they were saying that these people who were making all the trouble were not really Trump people. They were liberals and so forth, and all these groups that were these right-wing groups and liberal groups and so forth. And so they try to blame it on anybody they could except for the Trump supporters. And they kind of like sat back and were just observing, almost like the people from the Trump supporters. So, okay, so here is, and so what I did was here, within the vandalizing a Capitol, while this beautiful #1 patriotic couple here does their square dance in support of the victory of President Donald J. Trump. So here you have the Capitol, and here you have the people who are either liberal or right-wing fanatics here from those groups, to the right-wing groups they called, and they called the liberals. And you see, and here are the Trump supporters outside square dancing. Now, these are all the Trump supporters. You have to imagine that the whole bunch of people, I couldn't do a whole square dance and have everybody turning around. And so what I did was I just used one couple. You have to use your imagination. And here's the caller. He's playing he's playing the fiddle, and they're square dancing here, while these people who are either extreme liberals or extreme right-wing people are creating all the problem in the Capitol. Trump supporters are outside the Capitol square dancing. So here goes I'll put some music to that, and see. Here we go. Get some music. Okay. Okay. she's got on her here we go. Trump 2020. Here we go. Picking the arm. Do-si-do. Here's go with the violin. There's Tucker there. There's the fiddler. And here's couple number one. So these are all Trump supporters doing the square dance on January 6th. And that's the story there. Okay, I just wanted to give you a sample of what I had done before. And let's cut this down here. Okay, so this was numero 6, numero 6 in my countdown. There's Tucker Carlson. Here I have this number one that counts, the number one couple square dancing, and there you have the fiddler who's doing the calling, and there you have the Capitol with all the right wing rioters and the liberal lefts, and there you go, and the Trump supporters are outside square dancing. Okay, there he goes. He's got his hat on. She's got her Trump 2020 T-shirt on. And there they go. Okay. All right, I didn't mean to spend so much time on that. Okay, here is another cartoon with Jim Jordan here. And here we have Chuck Grassley. Okay. Now what happens here is Representative Jim Jordan, Republican Ohio, he's now in charge of the Judiciary Committee. Okay, weaponized balloon fantasy with Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican, Ohio, in the wake of U.S. shooting down third object over North America, and we had the Chinese spy balloon, and we had some other things that people say were just probably could be harmless weather balloons that they mobilized the Air Force to shoot down possibly a harmless weather balloon. But it just goes to show you that how this has been so politicized. That basically if somebody comes in with anything now, they got to scramble the jets to knock them out of the sky. So it's just unfortunate that this blocks. We have to confront things from a realistic view, not from a political view. And so the enemies are gathering. They're gathering up, boy. Every day I hear more and more. I ain't going to go into that. But what I'm saying is that we have to present a united States to the world, not a fractured United States. Lincoln said, "A house divided cannot stand," and that's more real today than it's ever been before. So if our house is divided, a dictatorship is united behind one dictator, and if we're disunited democracy against all these dictatorships and all these strongmen who are running these operations here, then I don't know what to say. I don't know, but time always tells the truth. That's what I say. Time always tells the truth, and we'll have to just hope for the best. But I would strongly encourage our leaders to unite and get together on formulating a policy, foreign policy, and also with the debt ceiling and all these economic crises that are looming ahead of us. So anyway, Given Jordan is the chairman of both the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. This is the Weaponization Committee, and they call themselves now the Weaponization Committee because they're saying basically that the Justice Department on the Garland has been weaponized against Democrats, liberal Democrats, and they're against against Republicans, against conservative Republicans. They've weaponized the Justice Department against conservative Republicans. That's what Jim Jordan is saying. That's the thrust of his argument here for all this stuff going on, all these investigations, trying to say with the whistleblower from here, the whistleblower from there, the whistleblower from the Barnum and Bailey circus, and the whistleblower from here and there, and all hasn't amounted to anything so far. But they keep at it. So they're saying that their theme, that's their thrust, is that this weaponization. So now they've called their committee the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. So they're calling it's like the pot calling the kettle black. I mean they're saying well, we're going to use there you weaponize, so we're going to weaponize. That's what they're saying basically. So I don't see a lot. Well, anyway, Jordan now holding new powers to investigate the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, IRS, Justice Department, etc., over alleged bias against conservatives. Below Jordan's fantasy spy balloon taking off from the House chamber. So this is their spy balloon to spy on the Justice Department. So they want to get into the act and have their own balloon, part of their weaponization. So that's just a fantasy. So here goes Grassley, and he's saying to Jim here. Here goes Grassley. He's saying to Jim, this balloon is the congressional oversight we need. This spy balloon, to spy on the Justice Department and so forth, and the FBI and so forth. And then here goes Jim Jordan responding to that. He says, Chuck, we need a weaponized balloon subcommittee to protect real America from the deep state. Can you suggest a qualified chairman? So he's suggesting himself, really, because he's in charge of all these committees now. He's in charge of the Weaponization Committee, and he's in charge of the Judiciary Committee. So we need now, he should be in charge of the Weaponization Balloon Committee to supervise balloons. So that's what, this is a pun on that. This is a play on that. So he needs another intelligence committee to be the chairman of. 2 isn't enough. He wants a third one here. The balloon committee, the intelligence balloon committee, the weaponization balloon committee here. So again, that's kind of taking it a step further. Okay. Now, here we have Mike Pence, former Vice President Mike Pence, amid considering a run for the presidency, says he will fight a January 6th subpoena from Special Counsel Jack Smith, who was appointed by the Justice Department. So he's going to fight it on the basis of the fact, I'm going to fight by all the way to the Supreme Court. He says he's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Okay. So what he's saying was, Pence is saying here that he is a part of the legislature. He's a part of Congress. So they call it a debate clause, some sort of a debate law that things that go on in Congress you can't be forced to testify. And he's saying he's a member of Congress, but he's a member of the executive committee, the executive branch of government. He's not part of the legislative government. He's there as basically I'm going to use a big word here, perfunctory position in terms of carrying out the responsibility, just putting his Jan Hancock, his basically approval on the results of the election. So he's not an official member. If there's a tie, then he gets to put in his 2 cents and his vote. But other than that, he's really a member of the executive branch. But he's saying, no, I'm still a member because I still have that one vote there once in a while, and also when there's a tie. And so he's using that as an argument, and that argument is inevitably going to fail. So what I've said here is basically that the Supreme Court, he takes it to the Supreme Court, you see, and the Supreme Court rules down his because he said he was going to go to the Supreme Court, so I have him here already at the Supreme Court. I put him at the Supreme Court, and this is what the Supreme Court, I was going to say, if it hasn't said it already, or he hasn't gotten word that they will say it. Just as the Supreme Court, I argue that in my former role as President of the Senate, I can invoke the speech or debate clause contained in the Constitution that grants me protection from federal prosecutors seeking my testimony as a member of the legislative branch. I feel duty-bound not to jeopardize the separation of powers. He is duty-bound. The Constitution seeks to safeguard. All that patriotic stuff in there, right? And then here goes the Supreme Court responding here. Here goes the Supreme Court. Here goes the Supremes. And they respond, Mr. Pence, court recognizes your feelings of patriotic duty. However, only senators and representatives basically are members of Congress and the legislative branch. Therefore, your argument for legislative privilege fails. Mr. Pence, you have to testify. And then here goes, and then Pence retorts here. He retorts back and he says, then I switch my argument to executive privilege, okay, which is President Trump's argument. President Trump could use that argument to block my testifying anyway. And that was before it happened. Well, sure enough, President Trump has asked his attorney to go to a federal court and ask that Pence be blocked from testifying on the basis of executive privilege. So it's already, this was before that, but this is just what happened here. Former President Trump has asked his attorneys, and they're seeking from a federal court a ruling to block Pence from testifying on the basis of executive privilege. Okay, so there you have it. Like a fortune teller, but it was clear that was going to happen. Anybody could have figured that one out. There goes Pierce Pence. There he is, with his red tie there. Okay, and then we have the Supreme Court. Okay. All right, now we have here Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is when former President Donald Trump watching Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican Georgia, shouting liar at President Joe Biden's State of the Union address. That during Biden saying, again, this was a while ago, but I thought it was relative because Marjorie Taylor Greene, you hear her every day, she's saying something. So I figured it was relevant, so I put it in. It got did very well in impressions. It was high up there, and it's still happening. So this is the thing here that struck me. Some small number of Republicans have proposed that Medicare and Social Security should sunset. Given polls show the 2024 Republican primary is a contest between the former president and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And that should the former president win the primary again, he would be very likely to lose again to Joe Biden. Okay? So basically, here is Marjorie Taylor Greene shouting liar, liar at President Joe Biden, okay, because Biden said basically that Republicans have proposed to cut Medicare and Social Security. And they all got up and protest, They all protested that. They all protested. God bless them. Okay. They all protested that. And everybody was standing up. If you were watching that night, they all stood up, Republicans, and protested. And the fact is, there was only a handful, minority of really right-wing Republicans in that clique of people who did do that for real, But nobody stood up and protested against it. None of the other Republicans stopped it. Said no, until Biden brought it up, and then everybody jumped on the bed. We ain't going to do that, So anyway, so Marjorie Taylor Greene got ticked off at that, and she stood up in her white outfit here, and here she goes, and she goes, liar, liar, There she goes. Here she goes yelling, liar, liar. And then President Trump, and here's former President Trump here. He's responding to that, watching that, and he's saying, there's my next vice president. I'll fix those polls against me with that announcement, and that Marjorie will be my border czar. She will be headed day one straight to the U.S. southern border. No more border crisis for America. Marjorie Taylor Greene goes, as vice president, goes to the border. There she goes. So she's going to she's going to make the trip as vice as the to the border, get things calmed down, and that's the punchline here. You know, President Trump watching her, thinking that she'd be a good vice president there. You know, so there you have it. That's my imagination, and I don't, some things I imagine that I said it was a crazy thing, but it happens. You know, some things. Well, so yeah, I just put that there. You know. Kamala Harris went to the border, and well, you know the story there. So maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene will have more success. You know? I don't know what to say about that, but anyway, here's the cartoon there. There she is, and there's former President Trump lauding her, really, you know, applauding her, lauding her with a thumbs up. Okay. All right, now we can't leave when we have a cartoon countdown these days, we can't leave out this man here, who claims his fame with a degree from Baruch College and star volleyball player. I did one on him playing volleyball for Baruch, but I picked this one out because I like hamburgers, and I was so proud of this hamburger that I drew, I almost felt like eating it after the moment after I drew it. I felt like taking a bite out of it, you know? So here he is. Okay. Now here's the story here. Representative George Santos, Republican, New York, fantasy burger of $199.99. Filet mignon Whopper to kick off his next campaign 2024. See, what Santos did here basically was on his bills, nothing has to be explained and itemized if it's below $200. So he had a whole bunch of charges, you know, many charges here. Okay, she's paying $14,657. $14,657 to an Italian restaurant he frequented, but including 7 payments of $199.99. So he had tons of money, and had 40 additional payments of $199.99. So all this stuff adds up like building little pebbles. It adds up to a lot of money, and doesn't have to itemize nothing because every expenditure was below $200. So everything was $199.99. Okay, so I have him here going for a filet mignon burger, the highest quality filet mignon, for $199.99. This is Santos's $199.99 flame broiled burger here. You see? There it is, $199.99 without the Coke, without the supersized Coke and the fries. You don't want to go over that amount, you know. Then he would have had to itemize it. Okay, I can just taste that flame grilled USDA prime natural beef filet mignon Whopper, and for just $199.99 without even my fries and Coke. There he goes. There he's thinking about that. You see, I drew him with his hands wrapped around it. You see that there? There it is. Okay. That's delicious. Boy, that looks good to me. I drew it and I said to myself, I almost went out and got myself a hamburger. You know, there it is. You got your tomatoes there and your trimmings and your onions. You got some onions there on top, and lettuce, and your filet mignon. And there, and he's opening his mouth, and he's just putting his hands out to that filet mignon Whopper for $199.99. There's George Santos. Okay. All right. Now we have Bernie Sanders, who's been around a lot. You've seen him a lot around. So we can't leave him out. And Nikki Haley, she's been around. We've heard a lot from Nikki lately. Yeah. Here's Nikki Haley, Bernie Sanders. And this is Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation here. This was from Face the Nation Bernie Sanders a couple of weeks ago was on Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan. Now, what's going on here is Nikki Haley, former U.S. ambassador to the UN and Republican governor of South Carolina, former governor of South Carolina, who is running for the Republican presidential nomination, watching Senator Bernie Sanders, independent Vermont, on the CBS program, Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan. That during the excerpt when Sanders calls her idea that politicians over the age of 75 should face competency tests. So she wants to give everybody who's over, who's I guess, over the age of 75. So once you hit 76 on your birthday, you got to take the competency test. Amid Sanders answering a question from host Margaret Brennan. Okay, so here we go. So, okay, so here we go. Here goes Bernie here, and here we have it. Face the Nation. Former Ambassador Nikki Haley is running for president, as you know. This is Margaret Brennan confronting Bernie Sanders. There's Margaret there. She's saying this. Number one. Former Ambassador Nikki Haley is running for president, as you know, and she said there should be a mandatory mental competency test for politicians older than 75. You're 81. Bernie's 81. Do you agree? And here goes Bernie responding to that. There's Bernie. There's Bernie. Okay, and Bernie says, no, I think that's absurd. We are fighting racism. We're fighting sexism. We're fighting homophobia. I think we should also be fighting ageism, meaning being prejudiced against people who are older. You know, it's a form of prejudice, as Bernie is saying here. So here goes, and then Nikki Haley responds to Bernie, and she says, Bernie, when I am this is my dialect. I'm just kind of just giving the guts of what she's basically saying without her saying it. Okay, this is like beyond her words. It's her sentiment reflected in the words that I wrote. Okay, Bernie, when I am president of the United States, together we will fight ageism. You will be the first member of Congress I will test, competency test. To let you know I am serious, on my first day in office, I will send you a complimentary 6-month supply of extra strength Prevagen. Everybody's seen those Prevagen commercials on television. You know, we see somebody like this, and they take the Prevagen, a glass of water. Oh, man, I'm ready to go. Let's hit the tennis courts. Let's go, man. I'm ready to go. I'm happy now. Oh, well, before they were So there goes Prevagen, miracle worker, you know. Okay. All right. There you go. So she's going to give him extra strength Prevagen to prepare him for his competency test. He's 80. So he's 81. He's already passed. He's 5 years over the line. There it is. Okay, there's Nikki Haley, Margaret Brennan, and there's Bernie. Face the Nation. There. Okay. I drew Margaret Brennan there with her pen, pointing out that she always has that for directing her questions. And there, Nikki Haley and Bernie. Yeah. Okay. Numero uno of all, this is the champ. This was the champion #1 hit of all my cartoons. This one flew right off the charts. And here we have, guess who this is? You guess before I even say who this is. Okay? This is the juror, the head juror who was elected by her peers to be the jury master. She was elected by her peers to run this jury. She was elected. Okay? Former President Donald Trump watching Emily Coors, the elected Georgia grand jury foreperson. She was elected. Imagine the jurors making the media rounds about the former president's election case, where a decision has to be made as to whether Trump and his allies committed any crimes on trying to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. So this is what she actually said. I had listened to it about 10 times to really try to get it as crisp and as accurate as I could to follow her sentence structure and what she was saying. It was like, it was like, in a crazy kind of way, it was like listening to a calculus lecture in a crazy kind of way, that you had to really decipher what was going on there, So yeah, there it is. There she is. Okay. Honestly, now listen to this. This word for word took me 10 shots at this to get it word for word. Honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. It's kind of neat, and I thought it would be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump, with me looking at him like, do you solemnly swear? I just thought that would be an awesome moment, word for word. And here's former President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Here he is. And he's responding to that. Okay? There he is there. He's responding to that. And he's saying, Emily, fantastic media job. Okay? Emily, fantastic media job. You can have 60 days here with me at Mar-a-Lago, but first you have to just tell the media that you have decided not to indict me for any of those fake charges, because 60 days with me at Mar-a-Lago is more awesome than 60 seconds in a courtroom. So President Trump wants her to go to the media. He's not saying go to the courts. He's not saying go to any judge. In this cartoon, I have him asking her to go tell the media this, and then she could come down for 60 days. This is my invention, but this is the way I did it, because she's a media woman. She wants to get out there in the media, so he's giving her more of an opportunity to help herself and to help him and to have 60 days with him. What better than that at Mar-a-Lago, Okay. All right. So there it is. Here she is. Head juror, elected by her peers. The elected Georgia grand jury foreperson. Okay. There she is. I drew her right off the TV set. Just as I was watching her, I drew her. Okay, folks, I want to thank you for watching my cartoon countdown. God bless you. God bless America. And I'll see you again next time. Take care, folks.